Folks, welcome in for a very delicious start to your week here on Trainwreck today. 88, dare I say, Patrick Kane edition. Myself, Maniac, here at the Hilbert College studio with you, ready to rock for the Buffalo Trainwreck Sports. Not Slick L on my left. It's Sabres know-it-all in a good way. Gatesy in studio live with us, making it happen. We got Don on the ones and twos. We got everyone in studio. We got the chairman. We got our whole party here ready to rock. And we've got Slick L in what appears to be a vacation setting, rubbing our nose in it. We're up to 50 degrees here in Western New York. But Slick L, can we pull him up here?
Yeah. Here he is. Whoop. Here he is.
There we go. Look at that sun. Look at that beautiful blue sky, Slick.
Yeah, north of 30 degrees up on you guys. But I'm glad to be here, and I wouldn't have anyone else taking my spot on the studio than my guy Gatesy. So I'm very happy about that. Upset I'm missing the party in Hilbert College. But, you know, hey, things got to be done on vacation. Drinks need to be drunk.
Don't worry. We're going to let you have that vacation, and we're going to let you come right back to the chair that you vacated for Gatesy. But Gatesy, Don, we've got some potential breaking news on the Buffalo Hockey Sabres side of things.
We do. Let me get it pulled up.
Gatesy, Matthew Fairburn at today's practice. Obviously, there were some line changes. You mentioned that Stanley was in the mix with Kesselring,
yes.
So that'll be interesting to see. But the bigger news, the bigger news out of this practice so far, and again, I guess it's not super confirmed yet, but we've noticed reporters, Matthew Fairburn pointed it out, UPL net to himself, quote unquote. The rotation could be at an end?
The rotation could be at an end right now. That's what's looking like right now from Sabres practice. And, you know, as bad as it is to see Alex Lyon kind of stumble a bit in his last two starts, you don't want to go into the postseason with a big goaltending controversy, in my opinion. So they're going to give UPL the keys here, it looks like, to do a back-to-back game. You know, they have some time in between. It's not, you know, back-to-back nights, but we'll see how he does in that situation. You know, it's kind of been goalie by committee this year. They've been going forever now, going back and forth between Lyon and UPL. So, I mean, as you get closer to the postseason, this might just be one less thing to have to worry about of, okay, they're going to rotate goalies in the playoffs. They're just going to give the keys to Lyon, to UPL. But they might be trying to solve that issue right now. But, I mean, Don, we were kind of talking earlier of just, you know, when UPL's had the keys, it's been a little dicey at times.
Yeah, I mean, both these goalies have played hot and cold all year long. When they're hot, they're hot. When they're not, they're not. Interested in hearing from Lindy. He's probably going to talk around noon, so we might have to keep some eyes on that as to, yeah, if it is he's got the keys to the car, if this is just maybe Lyons tweaked something, maybe he hasn't liked what he saw of him. I don't know. I'm interested to hear what he says. Hot take. I think the Red Wings game, I didn't think Lyon played that bad. I really thought he got hung out to dry, especially in the first period. And that's tough. And two, like, there's one that goes off his shoulder. That was, you know, there was a giveaway. He kind of got trapped in his net. I don't think got the position he liked. I don't know. I don't love switching things up right before the playoffs when things have been going pretty well, I thought, but there is something to be said about having one guy you can rely on. But I'm interested to see what Ruff says, if this really is he's the starter, or if Lyons, you know, maybe tweak something. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be very funny if this was much ado about nothing. But Gatesy, I mean, you said there are some underlying numbers. I don't know. I mean, you break down more film Buffalo hockey-wise than most, than anyone I can count on a hand, for sure. So what are you seeing? What are those numbers? I mean, do you think this is the right call if Ruff is kind of giving UPL the solo shot at net here?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're looking bigger picture. I mean, if the Sabres were putting out their best lineup from here every single game, you wouldn't be seeing Logan Stanley in every night, Connor Timmins back in. The Sabres have been changing things up to try to have some long-term success, in my opinion, get guys up to speed. We're looking at the postseason right now for the Sabres, where they're at in the standings. If they want to go on a run, you're going to need your goaltender to get hot. The Sabres have had success since mid-December from getting otherworldly goaltending, and that's helped too with just the Sabres, playing much better defensively. I think they really stumbled in the past, week with just how they've played, giving up a lot of chances, a lot of bad turnovers. So hopefully, giving the keys to UPL just for another game can just solidify things a little bit. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a big thing in these last couple weeks of, okay, what's this lineup going to look like night one of the playoffs? And if they can solidify goaltending, I think that's going to be a big thing to just check off the box.
It's just tough with the UPL of it all. I love him more than many. The him of it all, I think he can get hot. I think he can carry us eventually through some playoff series for certain. But like anyone, I've seen, Slick the instability sometimes around the Ukko-Pekka of it all. And obviously it's just tough because, it's tough because of the expectation as well. When we went, on that 22-23 run, Levi was the guy in net because we had no other option, it felt like. And it was just like, he's our best guy. Put him out there every night if it has to be. I don't think that's nearly where we're at with UPL, but I think it might be like a 2 out of 3 split going forward. I don't think it's a full overhaul. I just think we're not going alternating anymore going forward.
Yeah, I think it's good to at least see what that looks like.
By the way, they completely bamboozled my talking point, was that I didn't trust either of them. My only talking point was that I didn't feel like I could trust either goalie. And Slick, they thrust our guy UPL into the solo spot here.
Well, to be fair, I don't think either has given us a complete 100% confirmation to trust them as the guy going forward. I do agree with you, Maniac. I don't think this is a tell-all sign. UPL is the guy heading into the playoffs. I think, Gatesy, this is more of, okay, Ukko, we're going to count on you. We're going to put you in this spot come playoff time. Let's start getting you acclimated, get you in that number one spot. Know that you're the guy. Know that we want to go to you in the crease these last few games. See how he reacts to being put in a position like that. I still think it's going to be back and forth rotation, playoff time, come between Alex Lyon and Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. I think this is really just a heat check to see how he's going to prepare for the spot if they were to give him the gates, the keys to the mansion, as you would say, Maniac, come playoff time.
I would love the keys to the mansion, especially when I got UPL. Talk in our house, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, everything. We are live. Heard of Buffalo, Trainwreck Sports. What are your thoughts on the Sabres switching up lines? What are your thoughts on UPL potentially becoming the solo guy in between the twine? Gatesy, let's swing back to the first thing we brought up. Kesselring Stanley. What is your anticipation on that? Do you think that could be a match made in hockey Sabre heaven?
I think I agree, because I think it will be a match made in heaven just a little bit, because I think Michael Kesselring was finally starting to play his best hockey for the Sabres before the trade deadline when they bring in Logan Stanley, Luke Schenn. They're trying to get these guys minutes, up to, Sabres standards. So if they have to come in the postseason, it's a little bit more seamless. That's come to the detriment of Michael Kesselring just not playing since that time. I think it's long overdue for him to be in the lineup. They put Connor Timmins back in the lineup after coming back from a broken leg. I'm excited to see what Michael Kesselring does. We saw, little reports. There's that one Twitter account that posts, when NHL players are unfollowing accounts. Michael Kesselring unfollowed the Sabres for a couple minutes. That got blown out of proportion. He put a highlight tape of himself up too, saying I'll be back, things of that nature. So I'm excited to see with him, kind of angry, pissed off, back against the wall, how he's going to play on Tuesday if he's in the lineup. And hopefully he can elevate Logan Stanley's game too, where, these guys can kind of battle it out while being D partners a bit.
Agreed. So time will tell. Obviously, Burrs will be back in action tomorrow night against the Islanders. Don, any final thoughts? Obviously, you were there Friday night. You were gigging on Saturday night when they were able to squeak out that win against Seattle. Curious where you're at with this 10-game stretch to go. And what would we say we're at? We're one game more played than both the Hurricanes and Lightning, and they both are tied in points. We play both?
We only play the Lightning.
We only play the Lightning. Okay, so we can control the division. We control our destiny in the division, but we don't control our division in the Eastern Conference, which was never the case.
Yeah, so just got to win games.
Just got to win games. But any final thoughts on the?
Yeah, win is a win is a win. But I rewatched the Kraken game, and that was pretty ugly.
Very ugly. I just want to say
against a bad team again, and that's just I don't know. The Red Wings, we've had their number all year, but we've played them close all year, and I'm chalking that up to a horrible start. We've talked about this over and over, these rough starts. Yeah, but then again, during their 10-game win streak earlier this year that got them back, I think like 7 or 8 of those, they all started down in the first period. So the question is just, are they going to be able to consistently bounce back and not get in too big of a hole, especially come playoffs? We don't want that. Listen, I've been drinking the Kool-Aid all year. I've been drinking the Darlene.
You haven't been drinking the Kool-Aid. You've been hooked up to an IV of the Kool-Aid all year, and you have legitimately, do not call any emergency services, folks, been ODing on the Darlene.
Can I say something? Don has given us a Sabres drug problem. We're drinking the Kool-Aid. We're on the Darlene. Now Maniac and I are popping Lindy every other night, it feels like.
We've been doing so much Lindy. It's insane.
Listen, it's not my fault. I was overserved. So, but that being said, I don't want to come down to earth, but I am. I might be sobering up a little bit after these last 3 games. It might be, I have some concerns.
That's great. You should have some.
I have some concerns, and I want to see how we do against the Islanders tomorrow because they're fighting for a playoff spot as well. I'm all about looking for the next test, so I'm optimistic, but I'm concerned. I'm really interested how we come out.
Listen, I'm not even going to get into it, but the G sacks, all these numbers were expected to come a little bit more to earth, right, Gates? We were saving more goals than expected. We were scoring more goals than expected for a very prolonged period. Now, part of that is the expectations are maybe wrong as far as what they think from the players, et cetera. But you also pointed out, and you have it in the notes here, right around the same stretch, 05-06 Sabres, who everyone says this season is basically exactly like, the vibes are very similar. 1-7-1 in this stretch during that season 20 years ago. So this is a tale as old as time, so to speak.
Yeah, it feels like it's coming at the right time because the Sabres have been playing on this otherworldly stretch the past 3-4 months, so that they can get grounded right now, see where they need to improve, some mistakes that are happening, and they can learn from it. I think you've seen so far that they know they need to start games out quick. They're not going to be able to come back from a 2-goal deficit in the third period all the time, especially when they get to the postseason. We're looking at, some mistakes they're making defensively. You look at the Byram turnover on the first goal against Seattle. Little things like that. I think the Sabres are going to clean up their PK especially. Hopefully get their power play, staying consistent, getting some goals for them. That would be huge. But yeah, I think as the season goes on, it's just weirder how more and more alike these 05-06 Sabres are to this current team with, how they play, but all the analogies and the stats and, the fact that it is, 20 years later, it's something great. But I think the stretch right now for the Sabres couldn't have come at a better time because now they have 8 games to get right.
Yeah, just enough game stretch to pull out of this spell for certain.
We have Vet22 Art, and the Insta comment says Sabres can only do it with Lion. So we got the Lion stands are feeling attacked. They're coming out.
And I cannot stress enough that 05-06 first round, game 5, people were saying we need to start Baran. Miller had some shaky goal games, game 3 and 4. Miller comes back with a shutout. But I agree. I don't blame fans for feeling that way. Lion has been steadier this season. I think that when UPL's got hot, he's been the hotter goalie. There's been a couple games where he was 5 to 8 minutes from a shutout, 3 or 4 of them. So there's definitely just been some impressive performances. We would be remiss to talk all the Sabres talk and not talk the elephant who's not in the room, a guy with a great first name and an even better Twitter handle, Metza World Peace, Zach Metza Gatesy. So obviously they're trying to sell it that we're getting everyone minutes. It's very transparent what they're doing. Like you said, Timmins, Stanley, they're trying to get these guys implemented to see what we have, if we could have maybe a more physical presence at times throughout this potential playoff run. Where do you land on the Zachary Metza of it all at this point, March 30th, noontime?
It's so weird because Zach Metza breaks every single analytical chart that you could imagine and really see from a team. So the fact that Zach Metza is in Rochester, getting minutes because he's only playing, 10 to 12 minutes in Buffalo a night. It's not like he's a world beater on changing the outcome of games, but there's something about him when he's out there. He hasn't been scored on 5-on-5 since November. So you look at that's as much of an anomaly it is that this guy only playing, 10 to 12 minutes as having stats like this. He does bring a great, aspect to the Sabres team where he's a smaller guy. He's able to join rushes very well. He can skate incredible. That's what makes the Sabres defense so well already. Rasmus Dahlin, Bowen Byram, Owen Power, Matthias Samuelson can get up in the play now too. So having Metza like really adds to that. That's where my concern is with Logan Stanley just a little bit so far, as he's a bigger guy, he's slower, and he's had a little bit tougher time learning how the Sabres team plays defensively and being able to join Rosh offensively. So I think we've seen, Stanley take a couple strides in the right direction so far. But, I think anytime the Sabres are going to have a bump in the road, we're seeing it right now in the past week, the talk for Zach Metza is only going to, climb. And I think we're
not getting Gilson this year. No. Bottom line.
Well, I mean, you said in the vlog, like Metza chants broke out at the arena. I saw that tweet too.
Believe
that was unbelievable.
Like it wasn't raucous. It wasn't loud, but it was enough for about 15 seconds where you could tell we want Metza was like actually being.
And then we have Boris saying that in the chat earlier this show. And then now here's a question I have for you guys. I'm kind of setting this up right now. Do you think, like, based on his minutes, that is an overreaction? Is it a vibes thing? Do you think some of these people die hard? We need Metza back right now, or do you think they're kind of loony?
No, I don't.
Good, because then you'd be in a great.
The biggest argument is the minutes, is the fact that he's like theoretically a guy who can be tangibly taken out and replaced based on his minutes. What you're getting from those minutes are an all-pro, all-star level for sure. So we need that back in the lineup. And the reason that they're not being ridiculous is like, it's been 15 years since we've been in the playoffs. Like, we need to be putting our best before all times. I love the diligence. The fact, if you had told a Sabres fan this year, hey, yeah, guess what? By February or March, they'll be doing some tinkering to figure out what's going to work best in a potential playoff series. They're like, what the hell are you talking about? We got to make it. We got to be going. So that's why I don't blame him on Gatesy for being a little wackadoo about a little Zackadoo about the Mets.
Well, so I was setting you up. You guys and the fans would be in completely agreement with one Buffalo Sabres insider, Mike Harrington, who wrote an article yesterday. Sabres have messed with their D enough. Time for Metza to return. That was the headline of an article he wrote yesterday.
That was from Mike Harrington.
That's Mike. That's from Mikey H. Yeah,
I do want to say just on this topic.
Is this Harrington just like edging like Lindy a little bit though? Like, honestly, like, let's face it, that's been a passion of his for decades, and this move clearly involves Lindy at some level.
Well, I mean, if you're a Metza fan, you're gonna click.
Talk about a low-hanging fruit. If you're a Sabres influencer right now, and this is no offense to our guy Gatesy, but if you're just like, I love Metza, get him back in the lineup. What are you doing, dummies? Everyone's like, share, retweet.
All I'm saying is, again, like, people thought it was loony, and here's a guy that's been around you might not like his opinions. He's been around the rink a lot, though. He's been in the locker room for years, and he's saying this. So, and again, I know Mike is a polarizing guy, in the Sabres fandom, but that's what I was kind of setting it up.
The only polarizing Mike that I trust in this Sabres fandom is Mike Bunt, okay? I don't want to hear it from Harrington. Zach is right, because he's taking the lowest hanging fruit possible, because everyone wants Metza back in the lineup. I don't want a Timmins Shen fourth pair. In fact, I haven't even seen enough out of Kesselring when he's not in the penalty box to make me not want Zach Metza in that spot. I know we expect more out of him, and he has more potential. Zach Metza has just shown a lot that has Saberhood rightfully pretty upset that he's being tinkered out of this lineup and sent over to Rochester.
Folks, we'll be talking a lot more Sabres tonight.
Yes, tonight.
CSP Live?
Yes, 6:30 at Sports City Pizza Pub. Stop by, say hello to myself, Mike Bunt, and Don. Talking Sabres for about an hour, having a great time, and who would have thought we'd be having fun talking about the Buffalo Sabres?
I've never seen you so scared as when I just threw that to you.
It's been a long several hours.
But I'll tell you who was also scared. It was one Sabres reporter who did not realize we have a hint here. We have a little indicator. His phone was not on silence while players are being interviewed. One John Walrow of the Associated Press, an esteemed reporter, another guy just like Harrington, when he's right, he's right. Plain and simple. Guys, I mean, do you think that we need to cut down on some of the press access for the Sabres? I mean, there's clearly too many people in there, Gatesy.
Way too many people. I need more empty seats up in the press box every home game. Just seeing that many now is concerning. So definitely cut it back. We need less eyes on the Sabres. And, too much new media as well. We need a lot more newspapers.
Honestly, I think Lindy should be running the room like a school teacher. And if your phone rings and interviewing a player, it gets taken away.
You're out.
We'll give it to you at the end of class. At the end of where the press is leaving, you could have your phone back. Until then, keep it on silent.
Phones in the basket prior to entering the media room.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we got 4 panel members, which means we're perfectly set up for this next one. It's time for the forecast, sponsored by our friends at William Mattar Law Offices. We were just flapping our gums about it just now, the importance of each and every player to this potential Buffalo hockey playoff run. So who are the 4 most important Sabres to, I'm not talking about like a one series win. I'm talking about a run. I'm talking about you're playing in your Memorial Day. You got to figure out what's going on because there's a Sabres game. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So my point in that whole scheme is that it could be easy to say Tage, UPL, or whatever. I think that there are some other guys. So I'm going to start off with my wild card as my first one. I'm going with the perfect 10 since he's been here, Sam Carrick. That 4th line needs to be wheeling and dealing. I think Carrick on a run could be a guy who scores 6 to 8 goals. And that could be very crucial for a potential run. And that would make all the difference in being able to win those games and sustain that run, Gatesy. So Sam Carrick is my guy on the forecast.
Yeah, especially, I mean, he's winning faceoffs too. That's why you bring him in. You bring him out in overtime too in Seattle. He wins that draw in the O-zone. Sabres don't score off it, but being able to win faceoffs from him is great. My guy I'm really looking forward to carry the Sabres team in the postseason. Slick's favorite, Owen Power. I think
hotter than Chernobyl right now.
You actually stole my pick, which is it's crazy. We live in an alternate reality right now.
I'll back off if you want to take OP because
no, please give your reasoning because it's a hell of a lot better than mine would be.
Yeah, you look at the Sabres team. You're going to look at the postseason run. You're going to be able to need to get scoring from point producing from guys outside of 26, outside of your Tages. So having Owen Power do that, I think in the past couple of weeks, especially, I've seen Owen Power join the offense a lot more, get a lot more chances, really be a facilitator in the O zone, which I've never really seen before. I think he looks more confident in the D zone too. I don't know if I've just been, on the wrong side of Owen Power Twitter for so long that it's clouded my memory, but it feels like in this past couple of weeks, he's been able to step up for the Sabres in some capacity because Owen Byram hasn't been the same player we saw, in December. Matthias Samuelsson hasn't been to that level we saw before his injury. I think Owen Power is kind of stepping into that role, and for the Sabres to go on that run, they're going to be able to need, scoring and offensive production and even defensive stability from someone outside of Rasmus Dahlin. But Slick, where are you at with number 25 right now?
Number 25, man. I mean, he's making me eat my words game in, game out. I will give it to you. I'll give you all the props. Owen Power is leading this D pair to being one of the most solid in the NHL right now. Defensive core, I should say. Like you said, you need points out of your defenseman more than just captain number 26. And you'll take that wherever it comes. And I know I've given Owen Power flack for only being an offensive-minded defenseman in the past. But at some point, somebody from the blue line's got to produce points for this team down the stretch. And if that's Owen Power, I'll be a happy man about it and gladly shut my mouth. My player for the forecast, however, is going to be not anymore just a shootout assassin, as Maniac pointed out in the vlog, Jack Quinn. When Quinn is rolling, you always get the production out of Zucker, McLeod, whether it's finding the back of the net or helping other guys do so. When Jack Quinn is doing it with them, this line is scary good. No pun intended. This could start games, finish them. You could put them in power kill situations with Jack Quinn as well. We've seen he's been put onto that power play as well. Lindy's starting to trust him. The fan base is starting to trust him too. There was a lot of doubt in the air with this guy, similar to Owen Power, and he's also making people eat their words. I got Jack Quinn for the forecast of who's the most important Sabre down the stretch.
Take us home,
right.
John.
Well, this will come to no surprise. I'm going to go with my guy that seems like he was made by a mad hockey scientist in a lab. He can hit, he can fight, he can score, and he currently has the record for the fastest acceleration up the ice. We are talking about none other than
Oh,
Back
shirt is
Mountain.
fire.
Yeah, Beck Mallenstein. Listen, I watched Lindy talking to the team in the film room yesterday. The Sabres Twitter dropped this clip, and he's going, "This is really nice. Check out this block shot." And it's Metza going down on one knee, taking one to the tush like a man. And yeah, I mean, he's going to be important. You're talking about the fourth line with Carrick. When they're playing together, they're a great fit. And I even saw in the Red Wings game, we're down 3-0. We need to get something going. Lindy puts that line out there, and Mallenstein starts knocking people around, just starts banging bodies, and that kind of gets the team going, gets the momentum going. You can always, we've seen flashes where he's had some. You could argue at least two of the Sabres top 5 most impressive dangle goals randomly. This guy won't get hands, but if that doesn't happen, you can always count on him to give a pedal to the floor every single shift. He takes no shifts off, and we just need guys like that in the playoffs.
I don't think it's surprising. I mean, Quinn does fluctuate up to the first, second lines, but most of his time on the third line, right, Yatesy?
yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, not surprising we're picking depth guys when we're talking about a Lindy Ruff playoff team making a run.
yeah. I mean, with the Sabres forward lines, they kind of spread it out in the past month or so where, that you look at the McLeod, Zucker, Quinn line as being the second line, the third line, sometimes they're the first line with how well they're playing. It's, very, Lindy Ruff-esque. And I think what's going to give the Sabres team the most runway possible in this postseason is it's not all on the shoulders of Tage Thompson and Rasmus Dahlin on one player. It's very spread out. They're able to score from different guys. So if one guy goes cold, you're going to have 2 other guys picking him up. And I think that's going to be the secret for the Sabres' success moving forward.
Most definitely. So hopefully a lot of success. Again, if we're getting those depth guys playing that way, then most likely we will be in a great spot down the stretch of this season. Speaking of stretch runs for the season, Gatesy, the Banditos, talking about Chernobyl, they are just as hot. 5 straight wins after a massive come from behind victory in Saskatchewan on Saturday night. The Rush scored with just under 11 minutes to go to make it 7-4.
Yes.
But I feel like we've this is the exact script we've seen all season. There's no reason down 3 with 10 minutes left that they should be, in a game where you scored 4 in the first 50 minutes, should be able to do it. The Banditos put that pedal to the metal.
It's crazy that they've been able to do this, Maniac, because you look at the game in Vancouver from last week, 2 weeks ago, with another incredible comeback late in the game. This Bandits team somehow, some way continues to just silence the narratives about them that their time is up, that they're not going to have a 4-peat, that they're going to miss the playoffs. They were in a bad place just, a month and a half, 2 months ago, out of a playoff spot. They have found their game in a way that I think we're kind of questioning, but, maybe believing deep down that, you still have Dane Smith, Josh Byrne, Matt Vince, all these Bandits legends are still there, and they're finding their stride at the right time. You have Byrne getting 2 goals. Smith gets on there. Matt Vince is absolutely a brick wall right now. And having the Bandits always being in games is a great thing. And they're doing it against, the top team basically of Saskatchewan. And, the team's probably favored to win the whole thing.
Yeah, so obviously not just big to pick up a road win at Saskatchewan, but like you said, versus the Rush, versus a top team. You got them, the Warriors. And ironically, if I can just pull this up to confirm, yep, that'll be our next opponent. We'll be hosting the Warriors in Banditland this coming weekend. So again, we're still about 3 weeks away from the start of the playoffs for the Banditos. Again, it's going to be that 3rd weekend of April. Buckle in, Buffalo sports fans. Buckle in.
Imagine going every other night between a Bandits and Sabres playoff game at the KeyBank Center. That Plaza, boy, that I can't even picture what that's going to be
the
like.
Plaza, you're going to have to reinforce the Plaza.
Yeah. I mean, we saw for the Banditos last year, there was once it got warm, tailgating was happening. I might have to break out the scooter,
Cowboy Don.
Cowboy Don definitely might need to be paroling that pasture for certain. But yeah, Banditos doing everything right. I believe they're back into this. I want to say they're now in a virtual tie with Vancouver and Saskatchewan for the odds for the NLL title, which means they are back to being a quote-unquote favorite front runner for a potential 4-peat. That would be sensational, plain and simple. Speaking of sensational, we had MLB opening day this past week. I don't want to be negative about the opening day of it all, but like you get the stutter start with the one day on Netflix. People didn't like that. You get one series. Like, I mean, so far, nothing's really stood out besides ABS like a couple of times and maybe a couple of walk-offs, but it was pretty much par for the course opening weekend.
Yeah. Not much. I mean, all eyes are kind of on. I'm as a Yankees fan eyeing up the Dodgers big time because they're the favorites to win again, back to back. Talking about three-peats with the Bandits, and they're looking good. They just swept the Diamondbacks, and who's no slouches. And in classic fashion, just yesterday, you think they're going to lose? They're down, I think 2-1 in the eighth. Will Smith hits a dinger and they win 3-2. And they have that new Japanese pitcher. What's his name? Sasaki or Sasaki. Yeah. And I think he's starting this week. Sasaki. Yeah. So I don't know. Like we talked with Perino a little bit, like Yankees, like, what are our expectations for this year? And they're just kind of running it back, hoping for the best, while the Dodgers, like, if you didn't think they could get better, got better in this offseason. So, like, I mean, I know it's early, but I'm laying stake right now that this team could break the MLB win record.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think, what is it, 98 Yankees, I think, have
like
that.
118, I want to say.
Yeah. They look dangerous, and they added a lot this year. So we'll see, though. Plus their division kind of stinks. So
that is a big part of it for certain.
The Padres have had a rough start, and they're really the only ones that could.
Yeah, Rockies, not going to be much. Diamondbacks, like you said, going to be a little bit more lackluster this year. So will be interesting to see. But yeah, will be a long season. I'm sure filled with lots of highlights. I'm trying to think of anything crazy happened.
Skeen's got yanked first inning.
I mean, Skeen's allowing 5 in the first inning. Basically, it was hilarious. I mean, it's just like again, the reason you turn into sports. So it's
ruined so many parlays. So many people that were excited for that.
An investigation is on the way for Paul Skeens.
Like, there's so many people that I put like 3Ks at like minus 1,000 for parlay fodder.
Saying, I think a certain site was saying that like 98% of people were on 5Ks or more at like minus 180. Yeah, it's just like insane how badly they got crushed. Speaking of how badly they got crushed, Duke fans. Going home. Hate to see it. Hate to see Duke get their heart broken, but what an ending in that UConn Duke game. I don't know if you guys caught the rest of the weekend action, but pretty solid Sweet 16 Elite 8 round.
Yeah, I mean, this is March. This is why you watch it, for that ending between Duke and UConn. This tournament so far has been a little weird with no big Cinderella runs that we've seen in previous, iterations of this tournament, but to see Duke lose in that fashion, in that way, completely avoidable, has made it one of my favorite tournaments of all time at this point. So big Final Four ahead. On the women's side too, TCU, big game tonight against South Carolina. So all eyes on the Horned Frogs.
Yeah, Slick, do you have thoughts about this? Anyone in our lunchtime locks group chat saw you had to be feeling pretty good after the first half and probably the first 5 minutes of the second half too.
I turned it off, Don. I was chalking up a dub. I was ready. I was cashing tickets all slick Saturday, which we'll get into. I thought I had another one drawn up, ready to go. Maniacs stats, which I'll get into a little later, had me convinced that I was going to be rolling in dough, vacation completely paid for. And then I heard the news. And I was leaving my resort, condominium, whatever you want to call it, checked my phone at probably the exact same time a bloke in a Duke sweatshirt walked by me. And we both just had this mutual look at each other. And I was like, I'm sorry, man. I don't know what else to say. I would never normally apologize to a fan base such as the Blue Devils. They remind me of Yankees, Lakers fans, right in that squad with all them. But, that was heartbreaking. And like Gatesy said, this is March. It's not over till the fat lady sings. And Bobby Hurley, dude, fucking A. I mean,
Dan Hurley.
Dan Hurley. I'm sorry. Holy shit. Got too focused.
It does remind you a little bit of a Bob Knight brand.
Bob Knight
Too focused on the Buffalo of it all. But yeah, Dan Hurley has got balls of steel, and I would love to know what he did after the game, because the confidence in that guy is just. Did
you see what he did to like
that?
Yes.
His mom with the holy fucking shit was awesome. And then for no reason apparently, like I don't know if he like his prime like he took over. He like did the thing that they do at a UFC weigh-in when you're about to fight, like where they like touch foreheads, and he like pushed like the ref. The ref easily could have attacked him.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, and it would have been, and every person on earth would have been like, what he did was indefensible. Like it wasn't like, oh, that would have been an argument. Like, no, he put his forehead on the ref's head and like pushed forward.
I don't like really care that he didn't get tacked. I'm just like between that and the LASIK comments the game before where he takes off his glasses. I mean, it's crazy. And I wish I could show it, but CBS tweeted it. I don't want to, get stricken from their content, but they have like a real version where it shows him in the whole sequence. And it's so funny because before he gets to the big dog moment, he looks like such a weirdo. He's got like wide eyes, like, like, and it's really funny. And then they make it, and then he gets like into this like really serious. I don't know. It's just a loony video.
The shot gets hit, and then he's immediately that he sees the ref, and he's like, "How can I make this about myself?"
Yeah, that's the thing. Is like, I don't know. People are like, "Oh, I love watching Duke lose." For this, it was like it was just like watching the Empire fight the Empire.
Yeah. This is Darth Vader versus the Palpatine.
And on top of it, it's really funny because everyone was like, "Yeah, Dan Hurley, get ready for the Duke whistle," like as if the refs were gonna kind of control this one. But yeah, down 19, came back. I was like slick, turned it off. But then I went on my phone to place a wager on another game, saw it was like a 6-point game, put it back on. Unbelievable ending. And you were sending, there's, Duke tweets out them in the film room saying, "What do you do in this situation?"
The fact that they tweeted out what you're supposed to do in that situation 3 weeks ago, and we're like, Duke education, like all that stuff, crazy. Now, I mean, I don't blame Boozer as much. Like, I think he's getting a lot of the blame for the pass or whatever. Like, it's just such a knee-jerk reaction. Like, if the pass goes through, the game's over. Like, it's just so crazy how, thin the line was.
I blame the kid, because you saw the pass goes to the one guy, hands up in his face, he can't hit it, goes see the other guy just stands there.
And then that guy... Like I'm just telling you, you couldn't make this stuff up.
I saw you send me this.
I couldn't believe this when I saw this. I have to go back to my phone and pull it all the way up. This guy's name on Instagram is Get a Hand Up. That's actually his
way.
I'm just saying,
hands up.
Unbelievable. But hand up. Yep, that was a interesting or very entertaining Sweet 16 Elite 8 weekend as we get ready for our eventual Final Four. Before we get into our stretch run of the show here, Trainwreck today, live from Hillsborough College, Trainwreck Sports, Herd of Buffalo. Make sure you're following along. We have some quote-unquote breaking news, Don, from NFL owner meetings and Brandon Beane.
Gotcha. All right. What do we got?
So we've got 3 updates that I see that our guy Slick has sent in here. So huge shout out to Slick for monitoring the situation. The juicy thing here, boys, they're all pass catcher related. So first, the Bills have officially picked up Dalton Kincaid's 5th-year option. So that was kind of a no-brainer for the most part. If you think that Dalton Kincaid's going to be healthy, it's going to be an awesome situation to have with that contract and what he can do on the field. Number 2, Brandon Beane via Sal Capaccio says he's had conversations with Brandon Cooks and his agent. Cooks remains a free agent right now. So that tells you maybe that could be one of those June signings. Maybe that could be one of those August, pre-training camp signings, Don, that we were talking with Sal about on Friday. We were talking, the Bills kind of have that Rolodex of people when they've played with them, they'll let them sign a little bit later so they can miss some OTAs, things like that. And then last but not least, Brandon Beane on if he's still open to adding a wide receiver in the first round of the NFL draft. definitely still open to that. If there's a guy we think is another piece, how does he help us? But yes, if there's a dynamic player who we feel can help us, we would take them. Implied messaging. So I don't think they'll be drafting a wide receiver in the first round, but he's saying all the right things, and seems like they're focused on it. Seems like we're leaving no stone unturned for Josh to have some weapons this year.
Yeah. What more could you want than another early wide receiver draft pick from Brandon Beane?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll
Now
have
you're smiling
to.
ear to ear while you say that.
I don't know. And the whole ride up to Buffalo today, I was just thinking about, like, it just feels like every single offseason for the Bills now of an aging rusher, a wide receiver who isn't in his prime, and just hoping this year is the year that formula finally works. So who knows? Maybe Brandon Beane can make it work on the fifth time here.
Seems to be the same formula he's going for, too, with the defensive backfield, as we touched on last week on Trainwreck today a little bit. Also, not major breaking news, but Brandon Beane did just inform reporters at the NFL owners meeting that the Bills have a tentative plan to hold a joint practice with the Cleveland Browns during the second week of the preseason. So some big news there.
This news kind of trickled out a day or two ago, and the funny thing, or yesterday or whatever, and then the funny thing was, at the same exact time, they're like, the Cleveland Browns are not signing AJ Epinesa officially, like, who's a former Bill. So it's kind of weird. Like, they have this big bungle of Browns and Bills information all coming out at once over this weekend. Real quick, before we get into who's hot and who's not, we have a test. What do we got?
We got Lindy live right now.
Okay.
So, Slick, you might want to monitor.
I am monitoring the situation.
Monitor the mana.
He just took the podium, so yeah.
But before we get into these breakdowns on these breaking news and these tidbits from these press conferences, I have a surprise news segment for you three.
Oh.
It's going to be a quick round before we get into who's hot and who's not. But this segment is called "Did It Happen This Weekend?"
Okay.
It's yes or no. Did it happen this weekend? So for you three, you'll decide yes or no.
Yes.
Did it happen this weekend?
Happened.
Did, yep. Oh,
There's only one thing.
Okay. I like
Did
my
the
odds.
longest point run in NBA in the last 29 years get broken? The longest streak of points without the other team scoring?
I'm going to say yes because I think there was a team that lost. I think it was the Jazz lost by like 40 yesterday or something. So
Don's got yes. Did we have NBA history this weekend?
I would say yeah. This seems like a random one. And I feel
you
like
might be setting this
everything
up,
I hear
though.
about the NBA now is tanking after tanking after tanking. So a team giving up a lot of points seems to fit that category.
Slick, what do you got?
There
Did we have
are
NBA
a lot of
history?
teams, tanking and a lot of teams getting blown out, but I'm going to go no, Maniac. I feel like I would have heard about this headline.
It did sneak by. I think it was yesterday. I think it was the Raptors and Magic.
That's the game I was thinking of. Magic
Raptors
lost by
and Magic.
52.
Magic lost by 52. There was a 31-0 point run by the Raptors. I think it was like in the end of the first quarter through the second quarter, something 31-0 unscored point run. Did it happen this weekend? Yes, it did. Our history on the hardwood. But with that said, we still got coaches talking. We've got owners talking. But it is time for us to coach and own this next one. Time for Who's Hot and Who's Not, sponsored by our friends at Salino Plumbing, HVAC, and Electric. All right, so hot. I'm going to keep mine simple, and I'll shoot it over to you, Slick. Banditos, 5 straight wins. The boys are finding ways to get it done. Vince, the defense is locking it down. These Banditos are fuego hot right now, Slick.
Yeah, indeed. Banditos, 5 straight wins. Hot as hell, hoping for that 4th aspiration title. Who do you got for not?
Are we all doing our hot first real quick?
I mean, we can. Normally we do hot and
not usually what we do.
Thank you.
Yes. Let's do that. This is for your not?
Yes. So my not as of right now, and this is subject to change, is Amanda Batula and Wes Wilson. This is just unacceptable. We have a potential another Bravo canoodling couple on the side of a reality show. This was not how the script was supposed to go. This is very upsetting to a lot of the Bravo-verse. If Wes Wilson and Amanda Batula, fresh off of her separation from Kyle Cook. So real quick, you have Wes Wilson in the middle upper tier there with a little bit. Kind of looks very villainous in this photo. To be honest, he's not a villain on the show. He's more just like a, hey guys, like what's going on, like situation. He's definitely more chill. You got the villain of the show, if anybody, would really be more Kyle Cook in the history of it, because he is Amanda's former husband, ex-husband now, separated. A lot of people didn't like how party and ridiculous Kyle was all these seasons of Summer House, a show that's about going out to the Hamptons and partying every weekend. So it's tough to see. But yeah, these two are definitely not. Amanda Batula there on the left side and Wes Wilson center right. Gatesy, not a good situation for him.
No, not a good situation. And I mean, that sucked for them having to go to party in the Hamptons all the time.
It does suck. It does suck.
Yeah.
I can go to me first.
Whoever.
Yeah, I'll take mine. My hot right now is post-game beers. We saw the Buffalo Sabres get hot, just a few months ago. Rasmus Dahlin said the key to their success was, drinking beers together. See the Sabres finally get back in the win column on Saturday. Peyton Krebs, in his post-game little speech says, now let's get some beers. Sabres had a few days off, so I'm glad to see they're going back to the formula that's working, getting their beers in, having a good time, enjoying the ride, and keeping the magic going for them. My who's not right now is Alex Lyon, based on the news today with the UPL in the starters net. It's been a tough little stretch for him where, I get save percentage is a team stat, but he only has one game over a 900 save percentage in his last 5 games. And that one was that shutout against San Jose. So as these games roll down in the regular season, we might see, 34 in the net less and UPL really take it over. So we'll see what happens. And, the Sabres goaltenders throughout the year, when they've kind of been out of it, they're back against the wall. They always show up. So I have zero doubt when Alex Lyon is in the net next time, he's going to take it and run, but we'll see what happens there. Don, where are you at right now?
My who's hot, we touched on it earlier. Dan Hurley back again in the Final Four.
You could have scrambled an egg on that forehead.
It's like every dynasty you've ever hated, whether it's the Patriots, whether it's Kansas City, whether it's even who else we got? The Celtics in the NBA when they
Bandits.
won 6. Bandits, yeah. NLL teams, everyone hates them other than Buffalo. Just when you think UConn is, this isn't their year, they've looked bad. They lose as a 10-point favorite. He's chirping the fans at home, saying they're not loud enough. And they're back. You can't ever count this team out, unfortunately. I'm kind of sick of seeing his mug, but you got to respect him. Or at least the team he puts on the floor. Because honestly, I thought twice, both in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8, they were not as talented as the other team, yet pulling out dubs. So Dan Hurley, congrats. Keep headbutting refs, I guess.
It was like
headbutting your way to the finals.
It was literally one notch short of a headbutt.
Yeah. It was like, yeah.
Unbelievable.
Who's not? That's going to be the fire department of New York hockey. Folks, if you don't watch
not good.
The NYPD, FDNY game every year, it is electric. These guys play hockey. There's always a line brawl, always a brawl. There was one this year, so check that box. Now, fire department has won for 10 years straight. 10 years they've held this, but the Coppers take it this year. So the fire department got put out, and they're who's not.
All right, plain and simple. Laying down the law there. Thank you, Don. Slick, finish us off. Who do you got, hot or not?
My hot, this is subjective. You could have it hot or not. And I'm not going to blame you one way or the other, Maniac. Statisticians are feeling the heat this March. I think we had UCONN the last 2 years in the Sweet 16 and Elite 8 favorites of 4+ points, 16-0 after Arizona. Michigan and Duke up next. Famous final last words from that statistician. But hey, he's got another stat to add to the book, and March is March. There will be more to tell the people of. But a 16-0 stat, can't always buy it when you're going into March Madness. That's what we know, and that the film proves it. My who's not. Michigan State Athletics. There was high aspirations for these Spartans, number 3 seed in the college basketball tournament. They were in the regionals for the men's hockey. Men's hockey takes a loss to Wisconsin. Obviously, Michigan State falls to UConn and then has to watch them advance again in devastating fashion when they might not deserve it. So Spartan fans, nice people, by the way. We hosted them in Buffalo. They're not feeling too hot right now, Maniac.
Yeah, did not like that. So definitely a not situation over. Thank you to our friends at Salino Plumbing, HVAC, and Electric with who's hot and who's not. Slick, you were mentioning, and we got to get in our weekend recap. I know we're still monitoring the Lindy Ruff of it all, the owners' meetings as well. Your UFC night, big night, I thought.
Massive night, Maniac. UFC had a big fight card in Seattle, some Aussies on the card. You know, I love that. My girl, Casey O'Neill. This is probably my sharpest play of the day. Fellow Aussie. Have met her in person before. Great person, phenomenal fighter. Even better person, I should say. She was coming off back-to-back complete knee reconstruction surgeries, double torn ACLs. That's not easy when you're any type of athlete, obviously, but in MMA, those things can be detrimental to your career, given how much you use all limbs involved. Casey goes out and puts on a statement first-round knockout, piecing up her opponent. A lot of great finishes this night, Maniac. So I had Casey O'Neill with the knockout. That was 8-1. Parlayed with Israel Adesanya to lose by KO to Joe Pyfer. That was more of a substantial chalk. Still great odds, plus 235. I think the favorite was on Izzy to win by decision at around plus 115. You know, I was saying with Perino on the last show, Perino was saying too, once guys start getting knocked out, it's not easy to come back to their final form. And time, it really is, age really is detrimental in the UFC as well when you start getting up there. They do have a later prime for those athletes, about early to mid 30s. But Izzy's started taking some damage, getting knocked out. He looks great until he doesn't in all these fights. That parlay hits at a whopping 47-1. I do apologize to the Slick Saturday faithful. Was not able to make a video as I was out in Boston. So probably
that's almost like you lost.
Probably, yeah. No, it's even worse than
Jersey Jerry's doing secret parlays and not telling
when Tony Soprano gets mad, he couldn't place the bet. He knew he had the tip. He was going to use Carmel's money. That's how it is. It feels like a loss. It feels like a loss because it feels like I lost a 47-1 because didn't kilo us in.
I do apologize to the MMA fans out there. We also had a parlay with Casey, Terrence McKinney, and Joe Pyfer hitting as well. And I do want to give a special shout out to Alexa Grasso in the main event. If you're a first-time MMA fan and you watch this finish, you probably thought you just witnessed a murder. But in reality, what it was, an excellent punch combination, 1, 2, 3, 4, drops Macy Barber with the fourth, immediately hops on the rear naked choke. Probably the best at the UFC at finding a vulnerable rear naked choke on their opponent, minus Charles Oliveira. Former champion Alexa Grasso. So I think she will be in a number one contender title fight. Number one title contender fight. Very soon.
There we go.
That's
we're going to call them statisticians for you on that one. Speaking of combat contenders, we got John Cena hosting WrestleMania. You think this is lame, cool? Where you land on this?
This feels, pathetic to me. Low-hanging fruit. I think I saw the tweet say this is the most obvious sign of poor ticket sales, fan engagement, and ratings for WWE. The writing is on the wall. They needed Cena back. What this screams to me, Maniac. You know who doesn't have an opponent for WrestleMania as of right now?
Oh,
Gunther.
That would be terrible.
Is Cena taking a bump?
So this is just not a good. Sorry, what was that?
Is Cena going to take a bump this Mania, or do you think he's just only hosting?
No, he's coming out. AA 1, 2, 3.
I mean, whether it's this. So this is like the KO Stone Cold Steve Austin of it all. We know he's going to be there. We know there will be a conference.
Like a 35-minute, like legitimate street fight.
Right. But no one knew what to expect. We could have gotten no match. We could have got 30 seconds. We could have had an Iron Man, which it basically was. So we know Cena's going to be there. We know Gunther's going to be there. I'm pretty confident to say there will be a confrontation. It's just a matter of, do we see a match that involves a 3 count, or will Cena just give an AA and leave? I don't know. But to me, just stay home, dude. Just keep filming whatever that film you were talking about was, because this clearly wasn't your choice, and I feel sorry for you that Hunter keeps dragging you back into Gorilla to go out and take a bump.
Yeah, very tough spot. But not a tough spot. We were seeing just before the show went live, we have a new coach for St. Bonaventure. We got Woj continuing to kind of pull the strings there. Cool, the local story of it all is really the unique thing here, right?
This is the coach from Damon that brought them to the tournament, right? Or even
so D2 Damon head coach Mike McDonald, who we've done some awesome Coaches vs. Cancers events with, head coach from Canisius 97 to 2006, then went to Madai, then obviously to Damon eventually, and now back at St. Bonaventure. So you want to talk about a guy who's not looking to leave the local sphere for sure. We'll see where this hiring goes. But I know there was a little controversy that this was technically Woj's guy, and the last guy was kind of forced out. There's a little, I don't know. I don't know enough about it to speak on it, but good for Mike.
It does feel like ever since Woj got to Bonaventure, he's been pulling the strings behind the scenes.
For sure. House of Woj, for certain. I know that some Bonnies people are crashing out about it in a big way, and they're continuing to do so. Speaking of which, let's check in with the Trainwreck Sports Crash Outline, sponsored by our friends at William Matar Law Offices. Don, something tells me with Saturday comebacks and W's for the local teams, not a lot to crash out about. I do have something on the back burner while we continue to monitor the situation on the stretch run of Trainwreck today.
Well, there's not many fans crashing out in Buffalo, but there are some fans crashing out in Vegas.
Okay.
If you didn't hear, Vegas Golden Knights fire their coach. Now I wanted to see an article if I could get an explanation for this. And they interviewed some fans. I have some quotes. They were not happy. They're saying things such as fall in love with players, but you also fall in love with coaches and personalities. And then the team just rips your heart out. They're saying, I don't think coaching is the problem with the Knights this year. Probably since coming off the Olympic break, our best players haven't been our best players. So that's the biggest issue. Now, firing your coach in March 30th when you're trying to make a run through the playoffs, and then hiring John Torts, who really since 2004 has kind of not done anything. Every team he's gone and coached for has kind of become.
I remember him being such a douchebag during the broadcast last year. Am I thinking about the right one when they were like, "Oh, they could be looking for a new guy in Buffalo or something"?
Yep, that was the one when they were talking about elevating Kevin to
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I mean,
because that Maniac, that was when there was scuttlebutt when we weren't doing well that Lindy Ruff was going to take a front office position and we were going to have to look for a head coach, and people were pleading for Torts. I think I remember Gatesy tweeting.
He's like, well, don't even say that when clearly he is involved in these conversations.
There's a full-on interview. The first intermission with Torts there is he was breaking down
he's like, I tell Owen Power, I take him aside, you got to be tougher.
Gatesy, I remember you tweeting. You were like, it feels like we're watching a head coaching interview in real time.
Yeah, well, thankfully since then hasn't been an issue for the Sabres, and I kind of like this move from Vegas and the fact that I feel like Torts has 1 great month, 2 great months as a head coach, and then it all comes crumbling down. So kind of a great call just to get him right before the playoffs, get the Torts boost.
Vegas is a loser. They have more losses than wins this season, though.
They're second in the Pacific.
Did you see that stat though? That now they
because of the overtime losses.
They officially have more losses.
They did it again yesterday.
They got to do something. They got to try to figure out, because every year they want to win the Stanley Cup.
It's just wild. And I want to remind Buffalo fans of this too. Like when people are saying we have to demand greatness and demand better out of our coaches and teams, guys. Vegas won the cup less than 3 years ago, and they fired this guy. We talked about in the NFL of what's his name, Peterson being fired from the Eagles like less than 2 years after winning the Super Bowl. And it happens all over. So I'm kind of surprised by this move. I don't know if Torts is the guy for the veteran team they have. Like I feel like his style might work better, or supposedly with young guys. I just don't know, like with the Matt Stones of it all, if they're like, I don't know, gonna love him being an asshole to them when they play bad. I don't know. I could be wrong, but his resume at his last 2 teams, they brought him into Columbus thinking he would fix that. Nothing happened, and they were basement dwellers. Brought him into Philly thinking he'd fix that. Basement dwellers, and kind of just again took attention away onto himself because of his very loud personality and with the press and with the referees and everything. So yeah, Vegas fans are crashing out about that.
On the topic of Buffalo coaches, possibly something to crash out about. Lindy Ruff says Michael Kesselring and Jordan Greenway could be options for the Sabres tomorrow night against the Islanders. And the crash out part, Noah Ostland's timetable, still a bit unclear. Could be day-to-day, could be a bit longer.
Greenway, I know he's injured, so this probably doesn't make any sense. He could be a good candidate to be a nail gun in the Dingus Day massacre.
Yeah,
Get out there and just send some guys into the boards.
Yeah, something came out like last week that he's finally having like treatment now that's like actually helping him, and he feels good. So I mean, if he's back to what he was, that's a great addition. But I mean, from what we saw this year, it's nothing to get excited about. But we'll see.
Something in the real quick, Maniac, in the Bills sphere of it all. Just one last thing from Brandon Bean. Not too breaking, but good to hear as you and I experienced this. Dorian Williams did undergo a neck procedure, and it is healing
Dorian
Strong, I'm sorry.
No, all good. All right, so that's great news. That's great news for sure. Health is most important, and definitely want to see him getting back to feeling healthy. I'll tell you what I'm not feeling healthy about and what I'm crashing out about. Listen, I know the Savannah Bananas are signing deals to everyone. I know they're super popular. Stay away from my Star Wars Savannah Bananas, okay? This is not the collab that I wanted. This is not the way with Mando and Grogu. I do not like this. I'm not a fan of this. So I'm hoping this movie's going to be able to stand on its own 2 feet and not need a Savannah Bananas push to get it done. That's got me crashing out. But folks, if you got something you're crashing about, call into our crash out line. Don't crash out online. Crash out on our line. 716-226-6263. Huge shout out to the team, the production team here. Bruckman, Herd of Buffalo, Trainwreck Sports as we roll along. Huge shout out to Don and Gatesy for joining us in studio. We got Slick in absolute paradise. We hope your start to your weekend is paradise. We hope you have a great start to that week, and there's only one way to do that, by having a good day now.